Welcome to News Beacon, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. It's a Saturday morning, the kind that feels full of promise. The sun is just rising, casting a golden glow over quiet streets and sleepy homes. A father and his young daughter are on a mission in the lumber aisle, excited to finally start building the treehouse they've been dreaming about for months. They start loading 2x4s onto their cart, but suddenly the dad stops in his tracks, eyes fixed on the price sticker. His excitement turns to disbelief. He pulls out his old notes. Just last year the same wood cost half as much. He double-checks, hoping it's a mistake, but the numbers don't lie. The cost has soared, turning what should be a simple weekend project into something that feels out of reach, almost like a luxury. And it's not just this family. All across America, DIYers and contractors are feeling the same shock, their plans upended by the price of lumber. How did this happen? How did something as basic as wood become so expensive, seemingly overnight? The answer isn't in the aisles of your local hardware store, it's in the halls of power, in Washington and Ottawa, where decisions ripple across borders. A trade dispute between the US and Canada has landed right in the shopping carts of everyday Americans, affecting families and businesses alike. That price tag isn't just a number, it's a symbol of a much bigger story, one shaped by international politics and economic strategy. The father's dream of a treehouse is now a casualty of the ongoing US-Canada lumber wars, a personal project caught in a global conflict. We all remember the chaos during the pandemic, when lumber prices spiked and then finally settled. But now, the roller coaster is climbing again. This time, in the fall of 2025, it's not supply chain chaos driving prices up. It's a deliberate policy, a tariff, imposed as part of a trade dispute. Americans are learning the hard way that a tariff on lumber is really a tax on everything from new homes to backyard dreams, and even on the hope of building something together. The sticker shock is real, and for many, it's just the beginning of a much larger problem. The story of that unfinished treehouse is really the story of a nation caught in the crossfire of a trade war, where ordinary people pay the price. And as families look at their halted projects and rising costs, the real impact of these policies is just starting to hit home, one household at a time. So, what happened? How did a simple building material become the center of an international showdown? In 2025, US-Canada lumber tensions exploded, sending shockwaves through both countries' economies and sparking heated debates on both sides of the border. The US government doubled duties on Canadian softwood lumber, pushing tariffs over 35%. Suddenly, every shipment of wood crossing the border was under intense scrutiny. The message was clear: Canadian wood just got a lot more expensive. Prices at hardware stores and lumber yards began to climb almost overnight. Then in October, the Trump administration added a 10% duty on raw lumber and a 25% tariff on finished wood products, cabinets, vanities, flooring. The impact rippled through the entire supply chain, from sawmills to home builders. The justification? National security and protecting American jobs. Officials argued that these measures would strengthen the US economy and keep vital industries at home. By mid-October, some tariffs topped 45%. For builders and contractors, the cost of doing business was rising fast, and projects were suddenly at risk. The US lumber industry claims Canada subsidizes its mills, giving them an unfair edge. This long-standing dispute has fueled trade battles for decades. Most Canadian forests are government-owned, with set prices for timber. This system, critics say, keeps Canadian lumber artificially cheap. US producers say this is a subsidy. Canada calls it efficient management. The two countries have never agreed on what's fair. In July, the Commerce Department sided with US producers, green-lighting the tariff hikes. The move was cheered by some, but condemned by others. President Trump also eased logging rules on federal lands, aiming to boost US production by 25%. The hope was to make up for lost imports with more homegrown wood. The strategy: make foreign wood expensive and ramp up domestic supply. But changing the supply chain isn't instant, and the market felt the squeeze. But can it work? And who pays the price while we wait? For now, shelves are empty, and tempers are flaring. The answer is clear: American consumers, families building homes, small businesses, and everyday shoppers are all feeling the pinch. The cost of protectionism is showing up in every hardware aisle. Prices are up, choices are down, and frustration is growing. The lumber war is on, and the fallout is everywhere. From stalled construction sites to delayed renovations, the effects are impossible to ignore. The question isn't just about wood, it's about who bears the burden. Every American, in some way, is caught in the crossfire of this trade war, and right now, it's the American public. The true cost of these policies is being paid at the checkout counter, and in unfinished homes. The tariff wall is up, but the real impact is just beginning. The story of the Great Lumber Wall is far from over. The stakes are higher than ever, and the next chapter will shape the future of North American trade. The US and Canada have argued over lumber for decades. At the heart, fairness. US mills buy timber from private landowners. Canadian mills get it from government forests at set prices. US producers call this a subsidy, making it hard to compete. They've pushed for tariffs, countervailing duties to level the playing field. Temporary agreements, like the softwood lumber agreements, have come and gone. When they expire, the fight resumes. The last deal ended in 2015. Tensions have simmered since, erupting in 2020 and nast in 2025. Canada insists its system is fair and efficient, not a subsidy. They see US tariffs as protectionism. Both sides have taken their case to international trade bodies with mixed results, but the cycle continues. Accusations, tariffs, litigation. For nearly 40 years, this dispute has defined North American lumber trade. The stakes are high, and the arguments never really end. It's a battle of systems, not just prices, and the consequences reach far beyond the border. The US is a wood-hungry nation with a booming construction industry and a constant need for new homes, offices, and infrastructure. But despite its vast forests, America simply can't meet its own demand for lumber. About 40% of the softwood lumber used in America is imported from abroad, making the US one of the world's largest lumber importers. And a staggering 80% of that imported lumber comes from just one country, Canada, America's northern neighbor and closest trading partner. In 2024, the US imported over $11 billion in Canadian wood, fueling everything from suburban housing booms to major city skylines. This dependency is a vulnerability, especially for the housing market, where even small price changes can ripple through the entire economy. When tariffs hit, the cost of building in America jumps almost overnight, squeezing builders and homebuyers alike. It's not a small effect. Tariffs act as a direct tax on new homes, apartments, and commercial buildings, making housing less affordable for millions. In 2025, as tariffs rose, Canadian lumber imports dropped 8%, leaving a noticeable gap in supply. Canadian sawmills are hurting, but US production can't fill the gap. America's builders still need Canadian lumber to keep projects moving. Cutting off that supply without alternatives means price shocks, construction delays, and economic pain for both countries. The numbers are clear. The US can't build at scale without Canada's forests and mills. The ongoing lumber war is a test of how much pain the market can take, and how resilient the supply chain really is. And right now, everyone is feeling it. From home buyers facing higher prices to workers worried about their jobs. The supply chain is strained, and the consequences are real, affecting families, businesses, and entire communities. The story is in the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. Every price spike tells a story of scarcity and dependence. America's thirst for Canadian wood is not easily quenched, and the future of both nations' economies may depend on finding a solution. Who feels the pain? Home builders first. Canadian lumber is essential for framing houses. Now, costs are up, sometimes by thousands per home. In a market already struggling with affordability, this is a major blow. Builders must choose absorb costs or pass them to buyers. Renovators and contractors are squeezed too. Material prices rise, but contracts are fixed. Small businesses face losses or tough conversations with clients. Finished wood goods, cabinets, vanities are hit by tariffs, hurting US manufacturers. A policy meant to help sawmills ends up hurting furniture makers and remodelers. Tariffs pick winners and losers, often within the same industry. The American dream just got a lot more expensive. The impact ripples outward. Housing affordability takes a hit. Higher lumber costs mean higher home prices, bigger mortgages, and more people priced out. Inflation rises as the cost of a basic commodity goes up. Rent, retail, and living costs all climb. While tariffs aim to protect sawmill jobs, they threaten millions more in construction, remodeling, and manufacturing. Layoffs and reduced hours follow as projects slow. Importers scramble for alternatives, turning to Europe. But European wood is pricier, and supply is limited. The supply chain is disrupted, and volatility increases. The policy meant to help is creating chaos instead. The cost is paid by everyone, everywhere. Why not just produce more US lumber? The answer: it's not that simple. The US can't quickly replace the 12 billion board feet imported from Canada. Canadian wood, spruce, pine, fir, is ideal for framing. US southern pine is heavier and harder to work with. Building new sawmills takes years and millions in investment. Investors hesitate. Tariffs can vanish with a new administration. Labor shortages and logistical hurdles slow expansion. Ramping up by 25% or more isn't realistic in the short term. The US is increasing production, but not enough to fill the gap. For now, America can't chop its way out of this crisis. The solution isn't just more trees, it's smarter policy. Who wins? Big US lumber producers, protected from competition, selling at higher prices. But the losers, American consumers, home builders, manufacturers, and millions of workers. Canada's economy suffers too. Sawmills cut production, jobs are lost, and the broader relationship with the US is strained. European lumber producers see a windfall as US buyers look elsewhere. The policy meant to help America is driving business to Europe and hurting allies. The list of losers is long. The list of winners is short. The lumber war is a lesson in unintended consequences. The fallout is global, and the pain is widespread. In trying to protect one industry, we've hurt many more. The real cost is paid by those least able to afford it. Where do we go from here? The current path is unsustainable. The economic pain is mounting, and pressure is building for a solution. Historically, these disputes end with a negotiated settlement, a new softwood lumber agreement. Such deals aren't perfect, but they bring stability. The path forward is diplomacy, not escalation. Both sides need to compromise for the sake of their economies. The lumber war of 2025 is a lesson in the costs of protectionism. In a global economy, building walls creates tremors everywhere. The answer isn't higher tariffs, it's building bridges. Only then can we restore hope, affordability, and common sense to the lumber market.